Good morning. My name is Michael Manser. I'm a senior research scientist at the Texas A&M Transportation Institute, and I want to welcome you to the 2021 Texas Motorcycle Safety Forum. We've got a really wonderful agenda for you today to participate in. Laura, if you go to the next slide, and actually the next slide beyond that. Thank you. Okay, if you're wondering, the forum is, I have a few bullet points here. The forum is intended to provide riders, instructor groups, and clubs with good, practical, sound information on how to ride safe. And we'll talk about the importance of that in just a moment. We've instructed our speakers that they must be engaging. Now, some of them have taken that to heart, and we hope that all have done something so that you as a stakeholder in motorcycle safety are not just sitting back throughout the rest of the morning watching videos. So we have polls scheduled for you to participate in. We have other activities. We hope that you will also take advantage of the question and answer window. It should be just, I believe, just off to the right. If you have a comment during a stakeholder presentation or a question, please enter it there, and that will filter it up publicly, and we'll try and address that in the forum. The forum's purpose is also to tie together research that's being conducted in motorcycle safety with everyday riders like us, riding techniques, signage that we see on roadways. Often these topics are researched at the academic level. They're done at, they're built and created and installed at the state level and national level. But oftentimes we don't think about how they relate to us as riders and how it might impact our safety. So one of the big purposes of this forum is to tie together kind of that researchy, academic, more administrative side with how it actually impacts us on a day-to-day basis. It's also important to note that today's forum is going to be focused on both riders and motorists. So we'll see in a moment some data, but we know that riders are worried about motorists, and rightfully so. Almost half of all rider fatalities are due to a motorist who does something, crashes into us, creates an obstacle or something that we have to avoid. But on the other hand, riders are also culpable. The remainder of those fatalities are due to a rider just simply riding off the road and hitting a tree or something happening to them. So it is critical that we address motorcycle safety for that. Next slide. I have a few statistics here that really talks to the importance and continues to address the importance of motorcycle rider safety. You can see that 482 lives are lost in 2019. We represent only 3% of the vehicle fleet, but we also represent 28% of the total fatalities. That is a massive disparity. So vehicles represent just a small slice of fatalities. Motorcycle riders represent a huge slice, but we only actually represent a small portion of the motor vehicle fleet that's out there. About 45% of motorcycle crashes involve only a motorcycle, as I just mentioned a moment ago. This really points to the fact that motorcycle riders need to take greater personal responsibility for their riding style, wearing gear, etc., to make it safer for them. Next slide. Okay, as we begin, I do want to take a moment to thank a few of the sponsors for today's forum. First and foremost, I want to thank the Texas Department of Transportation. They are the group that funds the grant that provides for this forum. It provides for education outreach programs throughout the state in motorcycle safety, etc. And they have multiple programs going on at a time every year. One of those is the Save a Life program that you'll see signs for out in the public. So thank you, TxDOT, for your continued support for keeping riders safe here in Texas. The second sponsor is the Center for Transportation Safety at the Texas A&M Transportation Institute. And third, we also want to recognize the Texas Motorcycle Safety Coalition and their members who regularly provide feedback on what the structure of this forum should be speakers that we should use, when it should be conducted, etc. So thank you very much to those 3 specific sponsors. Next slide. I just want to make one note. If you're interested in joining the coalition, if you're not already a member, please do visit the web address at the very bottom of the screen, www.looklearnlive.org. If you go to the coalition page on the lower left, there's a Join the Coalition button. It's really easy. You just enter in your email. Laura on my team will email you back to confirm she's received it and get your name, and then add you to the list. And then you'll get occasional mailings. We don't burden people with too much, but you'll get occasional mailings about safety, about events that we're conducting, etc. And you can choose to participate those as much or as little as you want. So, next slide. Wonderful. So we are very, very fortunate to have with us today Terry Pence. Terry Pence is the director of the Behavioral Traffic Safety Section within TxDOT. His responsibilities are very broad, but he takes care of all the behavioral traffic safety programs, which includes pedestrian safety, bicycle safety. They have an impaired driving program to help reduce impaired driving. But his purview also includes motorcycle safety, and Terry has been an avid supporter of motorcycle safety, even though he's not a rider himself nowadays. He has been, like I said, an ardent supporter, providing our program with resources, regularly meeting with us to help provide direction on where our program should go and what the forum should be like. He's really been an absolute asset to motorcycle safety in Texas, although one that we don't normally see on a day-to-day basis like some other members. Terry's bio is in the, there's a bio area, so in the, when you click on your session, you'll see the names of each presenter. If you click on that, when you exit this session, you'll see Terry's bio in there. I'm not going to go into much more detail. So with that, Terry, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thanks, Michael, and good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Texas Department of Transportation, thanks for attending the 2021 Virtual Statewide Motorcycle Safety Forum. It's great to have you joining us here on this Saturday morning. And I just want to start out by thanking everyone for all the work that you do to help us work to reduce crashes, to reduce the number of fatalities that are occurring and the injuries on our roadways. And so we're really proud to be partnering with TTI this morning to put on the forum. And I want to just add a special thanks to TTI for just all the work that they've done putting together the forum. It's a phenomenal job. It's, again, exciting to have everybody gathering this morning to focus on motorcycle safety. I'm really looking forward to the sessions today. I know I'm missing that opportunity to be together in person. I've really enjoyed the last 2 years being over in Kerrville. That was phenomenal to be able to get together on a Saturday and to be able to talk motorcycle safety. And so anyway, missing that. So maybe by this time next year, we'll be able to gather in person for our forum. And so with that, I want to take just a few minutes and talk a little bit about our highway safety plan. We put together a plan that called the Highway Safety Plan that goes to the federal government. It goes to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. And that's our funding document that we're applying for federal funds to help us address traffic safety issues here in the state. We identify our problems, and then we, through this Highway Safety Plan, we go out, seek proposals. We select proposals, again, based on the problems we've identified. And as you can see here, here's the variety of program areas that we support with our federal funds, from alcohol and other drug countermeasures to EMS. You see motorcycle safety is one of those areas. Occupant protection, so that's our seatbelt and child passenger safety, pedestrian bicycle, traffic records, rail highway crossings, roadway safety, school bus safety. So again, lots of different areas, but one of the areas we're really very proud to be part of, and that's getting information out on motorcycle safety in the state. And several projects that we have this year, we have 3 projects with TTI. We have one that, and I'm sure you'll be hearing about various aspects of our projects as we go through today. We've got a project that are encouraging motorcyclists to complete training and licensing. We've got our statewide motorist awareness and motorcyclist safety outreach and support. And as a matter of fact, that project is supporting the forum today, and we help support the Motorcycle Safety Coalition and all the tremendous outreach that we've been able to do through that project. We also have another project that's identifying factors and trends to help us improve motorcycle safety in Texas, as well as we have our statewide motorcycle safety campaign, and that's with Sherry Matthews Advocacy Marketing. I'm going to take just a few minutes. I'm going to just share some information from a statewide perspective in terms of what's happened with traffic crashes here in 2020. You can see on the screen here in 2020, in looking at the previous years, fatalities, injuries, and crashes had been trending in the right direction until 2020. From 2016 to 2019, we actually saw a 4.5% decrease in fatalities. So that was good news just in terms of where we were going. But in 2020, unfortunately, that trend turned. We had 3,896 people lost their lives on Texas roadways. And that's as of, I pulled that data yesterday. And so that's the most recent data we have available. And you compare that to 2019, when we lost 3,623. And so you're looking at an increase of over 300 fatalities between 2019 and 2020. And that 3,896, that's the highest number of traffic fatalities since 1984. So you kind of think about that just in terms of the number of years there. That's the highest number we've had since then. And we've only had 6 other years. I went back and looked at stats. I went back to 1935, and we've only had 6 years since 1935 that we had more fatalities than we did have in 2020. You know, we were hoping during the pandemic with the number of vehicle miles traveled, they were significantly down across the state. We were also hoping that we would have a deathless day. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute on our roadways. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. We've seen risky driving behaviors increasing during the pandemic, such as speeding, impaired driving, distracted driving, people not buckling up as much. Overall, as you're going to see on the next couple slides, fatalities are just up in all categories. And so again, these just aren't numbers. They're moms and dads and sisters and brothers and friends and our coworkers and husbands, wives, daughters, sons. It's just, you know, one person dying just affects so many people. And so, you know, looking at these numbers, I shared this information last year. We've had at least one person die on Texas roads every day since November 7th, 2000. So think about that. That's this last November was 20 years that we haven't had a day where at least one person has died on our roads. And so looking at that, that's 7,480 days. And we ran the data week before last. And so that's, as you can see, over 72,000 lives that have been lost in traffic crashes here in the state. Alcohol-related fatalities, unfortunately, Texas still ranks in the top 10 nationally when you start looking at alcohol-related fatalities per 100 million vehicle miles traveled. As you can see, we had an increase in alcohol fatalities from 2019 to 2020. We had seen decreases if you look back over time, but again, that trend started back up this last year. And these are motorcycle fatalities. And Michael mentioned this earlier. As you can see what happened here with motorcycle fatalities here in the state. 2019, we dropped to 413. Again, tremendous overrepresentation. When you look at the vehicle mix, motorcycles are about 2% of our registered vehicles, but in 2020, they were 12.4% of our total traffic fatalities. And again, you can see the numbers just skyrocketed up to 482 here in 2020. And so another number in there, one of the things we looked to see of the motorcyclists killed in 2020, almost 49% were not wearing a helmet at the time of the crash. And pedestrian, bicycle, again, following the same trends. Look at that. That's the first time for pedestrian fatalities. We were at 717. So again, up from 661. and pedestrian fatalities end up being about 18% of our total fatalities. And as you can see, bicycle fatalities were also up from 68 up to 79. Seatbelt usage, 2019 is the last survey we've done. We've had about, we're at 91% usage, as you can see. But you can also see in the stat there that almost 47% of all the vehicle occupants killed in vehicle crashes in 2020 were unrestrained. And so that's an area that we're really trying to work to get people to buckle up. We're getting ready to enter the month of May. We'll be emphasizing our Click It or Ticket campaign running through Memorial Day. It's one of those things, we know we save lives. NHTSA has estimated that since 2002, when we started the Click It or Ticket campaign, that we have saved 6,234 lives and prevented over 100,000 serious injuries because more people are buckling up. So it's going to take all of us working together. This last slide, just sharing that information. And that's where we appreciate the work that you all do to help us get the information out and being part of that safety team and help us address the roadway safety issues. Our commission year before last set a goal of being at 0 fatalities by 2050, wanted to be halfway by 2035. So again, it's going to take all of us working together to be able to reach that goal. And the last slide I'd like to end with is to ask for your all's help to help us end that streak of daily fatalities here on our Texas roads. And so with that, Michael, I'll turn it back over to you.
Cool. Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. I do want to take a moment. Chris posted a comment in the Q&A window for motorcycle fatalities. Is there a stat for at fault data? So can we assign fault one way or the other? And my understanding is that we don't have a perfect way to do that. You can go through and figure out the crash dynamics and if the car pulled out in front of a motorcycle, et cetera. But typically law enforcement officers don't assign that, you know, they don't indicate total fault. So that doesn't come out in the data, unfortunately, because that would be really helpful. Thank you, Chris. We have just a minute or two left. I do want to take a moment to thank Terry again. For those of you who may not know, Terry's retiring pretty soon here. He has more than 39 years experience at TxDOT in traffic safety. And Terry's done everything from getting his hands dirty as out in the field, doing safety campaigns in his junior years, and worked his way up through all the positions and is now obviously the section director for behavioral traffic safety. I have to say that his unwavering support to traffic safety in Texas is really unmatched by any other state director in a similar position. So we are really fortunate. And I just want to say happy retirement, Terry. You really deserve it. You've done such an awesome job throughout the years. I just want to say thanks.
Well, thank you very much.
Just a very quick note, surveys. After each session, when that session closes out, you'll be brought back to the auditorium. And in that list of sessions, you'll see across from the one that you attended an evaluation button. If you would just take a moment to click on that after you're done with each session and fill out the evaluation, it really helps us understand what we can do better for future forums and what's really going good. And like I said, what we can begin to tweak to make things even better. It's really critical. And at the end of today's forum, there's an overall evaluation. If you would fill that out, we've tried to keep them really, really short so that it just doesn't take much time at all. Thank you, Laura. A couple other quick notes. The videos, everything today is being video recorded, and it will be available to you for up to 90 days on this website. And then we're going to be porting over all of those videos to the Look, Learn, Live website. So if you feel some competing demands between two sessions that are happening at the same time, don't worry about it. We've got you covered. We're going to have those recordings available first here through the website, and then second through looklearnlive.org. And those will all be, when they're on Look, Learn, Live, they will all be publicly available so anybody can access those. And then lastly, we encourage you to participate today. Use the Q&A box. We will be trying to answer any questions that are posed there or address any comments there as we possibly can throughout today. Take part in the polls when they're offered. Again, we've asked speakers to include some of these activities. So again, we're not just sitting on this side of the computer kind of all day looking at the screen. So one last thing, there are handouts. You'll see a little handouts button on the right-hand side. Some of the speakers have added their slides already, and those are available for handouts. You can just click on that and you can download those handouts as you see fit. Okay, next slide. Lastly, social media, of course. If you like what's going on and you're a social media advocate, the hashtag is hashtag TMSF21, Texas Motorcycle Safety Forum 21, exclamation point. With that, I'm going to close out today's session. What will happen now is, as Laura finishes this up, you'll be brought back to the auditorium. And if you're not, go back to the auditorium. You can select your next session and then make your way there. So thank you very much for attending the forum. We hope you have a really wonderful day. Thank you.